Hello and good day. Today we'll be talking about what is emphasis. Emphasis uh, is one of the principles of design. The last time we spoke about balance, and we said balance has to do with using a part to measure a whole of the design. So we'll be looking to the term called emphasis. Then, what is emphasis? Emphasis is how an artist or designer creates a focal point in the artwork. Now, creating a focal point makes sure you are making sure that a particular area of your work is standing out. So this can be done by allowing one element to stand out from the others, exactly as I said, or by toning down around surrounding elements in order to draw attention to one particular element. That is that word focal point. When you make a particular area showcase more than every other area, that is what emphasis is. You might want to think, okay, if I have different curves, I mean we have a particular curve that is bigger, and and you have them on the surface, maybe draw them on the surface, and you tend to make the bigger one more visible. So you make sure that all your audience or the viewer of your work, their first point of contact is going to be the big cup, because you made it very clear and clear for them to see it. Now, there are five main methods of creating emphasis. One is contrast, two is placement, three is isolation, four is convergence, while five is the usual. Now, contrast is a part of composition that stand out from each surrounding and will draw our attention. You stand out of the surrounding and make sure that it draws your attention as a viewer. While placement is a closer an element is to the center of the composition, and the more our eyes are led to it. Now, what's the meaning of isolation? Isolation, just as the word implies, when you separate a part from the other areas. Right here it says something that sits separately from a group of other elements will stand out. Now, when you make sure that a part is separated from the others is called what? Isolation. By convergence, now when different areas are meeting a particular point is called convergence. Now, lines or other elements can draw closer together to create a focal point. Now, when we say focal point, as I said earlier, I said when a particular area tend to show itself better than every other area. For example, you are making use of different elements, and one particular element is showcased well and properly emphasized, such in a way that the is eye catchy and the viewer can get a glimpse of it. Then automatically it's a focal point. Now the last one is the unusual. Something that seems unusual or strange will grab our attention. All these are the five methods that are together in creating what? There are five methods that you put together in creating what? You put together to create emphasis. First and foremost, let's discuss on what contrast is. Contrast, as I said earlier, I was trying to emphasize. I said contrast have to do with what? When your attention is being drawn to a particular area, and that place. Okay, let's just quickly use the word when you want to talk about creating an artwork and you want to make contrast, it has to do with maybe something like brightening, or dark, high, light, or dark, or whatever. So, but right here in the area of emphasis, he said right here, he said true contrast is when artist or and designer draw attention of a part of composition by making it different from its surrounding. Now they made it different from what its surrounding, just like your shading. If you want to make a part brighter, then it's going to be, maybe that part is going to be different from the other areas. So that is what emphasis, what contrast is. So right here we also have said one way to do this is by using a color placed against a complementary background color. Now, how can this be done? When we have red and blue is they are both complementary color. We have green, I mean, sorry, not red and blue, I beg your pardon. Red and green are complementary color, not red and blue. Red and blue are both primary colors. So now red and green are complementary color. When you have a green background and you have the play of red on it, automatically emphasize what this particular area is talking about. Now warm colors jump out against cooler colors. When you have warm colors popping out against cooler colors, you now know that what you are now obeying the law of contrast. Intense colors stand out against muted or more neutral tints, shade, and tones. Now, what is the meaning of tint? When you add white to an existing color. Shades means when you add black to an existing color. White tone means when you add gray to an existing color. These are how these are achieved, and the ability of placing these colors side by side, making one area more pronounced than the other, you are obeying the law of contrast in emphasis. Now we have right here is an example of work that is done by Banksy. Title of the work is Girl with a Balloon, and we can see a small girl by the left hand of my screen holding a balloon that is in the form of a love shape that is red. So now the focal point is the red balloon because it is warm, intense color. It stands out against the plain gray background. So we have a lot of gray background and we have just the red balloon, which make the work distinct and it stands out. That's where the first place the audience tend to look at. Oh, what is that? Is that a heart? It looks so beautiful and this and that. So that is that. Then we now have straightforward right here. We have work by Pablo Picasso in that is done in 1903 to 1904, and the work is on canvas, and the title is The Old Guitarist. Yeah, if you get close to this work, you're going to see that the work, the old guitarist, is covered up with some beautiful blue tones, and you can see the way they are being covered up, and the work kind of look cool. But the contrast of the guitar is painted orange brown, and this made the work to stand out. So the guitar itself is what formed the emphasis that created what the emphasis with the aid of what the contrast using what the orange brown. Now we have another work here by Edvard Munch in 1892. That's when the work was done, and the title of the work is Night in St. Cloud. Now you can see that this work it shows high contrast, and you can see the contrast, the play of light and shade in what in the work. The dark parts that looks like a silhouette, and you can see the light part that is highly distinct, and the highlights are very much extreme. And this work, it's a very distinct work, and the work shows the play of contrast and showcasing the vocal points. Now we have what is called placement. We've talked about contrast already in emphasis. Placement is something in a central position. It will help emphasize it because our eyes tend to be drawn to the middle of a composition. Now, when your eyes tend to draw to the middle of a composition, your mind goes toward placement in emphasis. Let's see what we're talking about. We have a work here done by Amadeo Modigliani. Pardon me, I need to get used to names. In 1918, that is where the work was done, and it's a very simple and simple example to show how the placement can help our attention as to the subject. Look at now, the subject is the seated girl, which is the title of the work, and you can see the girl itself is highly pronounced and is highly centralized, where that is exactly where the attention of everybody goes to. That's where the viewers tend to see. The person you're seeing is the seated girl. You are looking at the girl sitting on the chair, but you don't even see the chair. The first thing that goes to your side is the girl, because why? She is at the forefront of the work, pushing her to be at the center of attraction. Now we have right here, emphasis can also play an important functional role in architectural design. Now, what do we mean by architectural design? That's it when it has to do with what? Designing a building, or designing a bridge, designing an area, a geographical area, just to differentiate what has been the archaic time and what has been in the 21st century and in the time of our day. Now, in Peter's Brehen's house Cleo in 1907 to 1910, the central position of the main entrance draws our attention to it and makes it easy to find, which is the door. You can see the door right there. The door is red in color, or you can call it reddish brown. Now, the door really calls an attention because every other color has a play of it, of their shade, but we can see the red is the only color that actually draw our attention to the center of the house, to show that the placement of that door is playing a very essential role in emphasis. Now, we now have right here convergence, when things come together to a particular point. Now, I said when lines or other elements draw closer together, they can be used to lend our eyes to a focal point. Let me take it again. When line or other elements draw closer together, they can be used to lend our eyes to a focal point. Now, the focal point on this work that was done by Frida Kahlo in 1948. It's the picture of the girl in the clothes. This looks like a Mexican dress, and it's a self-portrait of Frida Kahlo, self-portrait in medallion, and we can see that this is Frida Kahlo herself. She is the one at the center part, and that is the focal point. That's where the people's eye goes straight forward to see, okay, this is Frida Kahlo, and you first thing you are seeing is the picture of herself before you start looking at the background of the clothes. Oh, is this a clothes? She putting her hair on the wall. She doing this or doing that. So the first thing that comes to your mind is the picture of herself, which we are seeing there. Now let's check another one right here. We have right here is the adoration of the shepherd. See, this work was done by Guido Reni in 1640. Now, there are no physical lines that show convergence in this work. There's no line showing that this is where, pointing at the direction at which people should look at. Now, but everybody's eye in this work, you could see that everybody's eye is turned to only one person, which is the baby in the manger. Now, this work represents what? Represents when Jesus Christ was born in the manger. Now, everybody's eyes is being turned to that what? Baby in manger. Automatically what? The law of convergence in emphasis is at play right here. So, we now move straight further to what? To isolation. Now, while elements that are grouped together may carry more visual weight, isolating or separating a key object or shape from the rest of the composition will make it stand out. Now, how can this be in play? What is this talking about? He said right there, when you have group of design, you have group of a play of elements on a surface. Now, when you isolate or separate a particular object or a particular element or a particular shape from the rest of the composition, it makes the world also stand out. Automatically draws the viewer's attention to what you isolated. Now, let's check right here. We can see right here in this work by Henri de Tollois-Lautrec. Now, the work is in the Moulin Long, and yeah, that's the work. And you can see right here in the work, the group of people at the table are placed near the center of the painting, but our eyes are drawn to the woman who sits alone at the right edge of the frame. Now, this woman at the right edge of this frame, that her face is kind of looking a tinted green white. The woman is being isolated and she's actually at the front. Now draws the viewers focus on that particular lady, which is making that law of isolation be at play here in this emphasis. Now we move straight forward to when we look at the Apples and Orange by Paul Cézanne in 1895 to 1900. These works were made by Paul Cézanne, and while other fruit is arranged in groups, the single apple is isolated from the surroundings by the white of the tablecloth, which we can see that only one apple is isolated, is stained on the cloth, and that one apple is the one that draws the attention of the viewer. You tend to ask yourself, like, what is the apple doing outside? Is it that it's been neglected or what? Or, a lot of questions that could hardly pop out when you are thinking about why the artist tend to make this. What is the reason behind it? Why is the artist trying to isolate this particular fruit? There's a lot of stories that backs up a work of art to make it look very distinct. Now, we have right here in Karaski Pines at Night. Now, the artist is unknown and the work is being done. This work is done by 1900 to 1920. The boat is emphasized because it is isolated from the larger shape of the island by a large area of negative space. I hope you can see the boat. Okay, so you can see boats, and you can see that what we have space that are isolated, and when one object is isolated, you know that what it's under the law of what isolation. Then we move to the word lastly is the unusual. As the word imply unusual, when something doesn't look like what it seems to be. Now, when an element is unusual, unlike the other elements used or doesn't seem to fit with its surrounding, we tend to look at it for longer as we try to work it out. Why is it is there? You have to start raising, okay, why is this there? Why is this there? You want to work it out, you want to, explain it, you want to use your mind to think about it, to make sense out of what has been created. And all this is, as doing that, you tend to see that what you are obeying the law of the unusual when it comes to emphasis. Now, right here we have a work. I said at first the ambassadors, Hans Hobben in Younger, Hobben the Younger. This work was done in 1933 and it looks like a conventional double portrait with a number of objects arranged between the figures. At the bottom of the painting, which you can see between the both figures, you can see something look white that is close to the ground, right? That is stretched out. It's the stretched out image of a skull. All right. So excuse me. Now you tend to look, okay, what is this skull doing here? Why is it being stretched out? What is a lot of thinking really popped out of your mind. Why is the image being doubled? Why is the room arranged in this format? And why is it that the artists tend to even stretch out the image of a skull? Okay, so those are the questions that keep popping out from the mind of the viewers as they look at the work, try to make some analysis, try to build out some very beautiful things, and to understand how the work was made. So yeah, now we also have another work here. Unusual scale can also create emphasis. Maman by Louis Bourgeois in 1999 used its size to create effective viewers can walk underneath this enormous spider and feel small and significant in comparison. Now, we can see this enormous spider, this very big spider, was made by Louis Bourgeois in 1999, and people tend to pass, even as they view it, they tend to pass under it freely, and they tend to feel small when they pass under it. Now, the thinking now comes, how come this is very gigantic? How come the viewer tend to have a lot of things running through their mind? Now, the sculpture has turned a very small and largely unnoticed object into something giant. You see, a spider, you can barely see them very well, but now the artists tend to makes it very, very big, such that everybody can see and understand that, oh, this is how it looks like. Now, Louis has made something terrifying that will get the viewer's attention even from a great distance. That is the works of art, and that is why it's been done like that, and that is why it's done for it to create emphasis, so that people will tend to understand and people will tend to know what is more, when it comes to the unusual scale, and artist aligns toward emphasis. because right here people that pass around will have no choice to see this. That will be felt like, whoa, what is this? This is a gigantic big spider, and they want to find out, okay, what was running through the artist's mind, what was this and that. So it's quite a very beautiful focal point. All right, so that's that. Now, before we end the class, I want to educate you that emphasis is also a rule and regulation that also guides the use of different elements, just as emphasis is under the principle of art or principles of design. Please don't forget that, and don't forget that balance also is also a rule and regulation under the principles of design. And that is why we artists, we tend to make use of all these regulations, and we use them to make a beautiful works. Now, the first question I would like to ask you, before I ask you a question, I want to ask, do you have any question for me? If you do have any question for me, please throw it down on the comment section. I will attend to all your questions and give you an excellent answer. And make sure that you subscribe to my channel. Make sure that you click like, you ring the bell, so that in case you subscribe to my channel, so in case when I drop another video, you will be aware and you'll be able to follow up. Education is the light that shineth over every darkness, and art is life. Now, this is my question. My question is, what do you understand by emphasis? What are the ways and rules, ways that we can use emphasis to create beautiful artworks? What are the things you understand under these studies? Is there any question that you need to ask me apart from all these questions I've asked you? If you have anything bothering you as an artist, or you wish to discuss, please do well to throw it down to me in the comment section. We'll have a very quality time to discuss and understand the context of discussion, and we'll trash it out by the special grace of God. Everything will work out excellently. Please don't forget to subscribe, share for the aid of pure understanding, and for the aid of excellent scholar build. Thank you, and I will be running off. I will be dropping my pen here, and I will say au revoir, which means goodbye. Thank you, and have a nice day.